Okay, so we got a 365 raid. We got no help needed. We have the timer. And we do not have insanity. I'm gonna pre-pot, heal up, and then angler to overheal. Got my range gear on, and just four-way switches. Good to go. Timer is on, so we don't want to waste time. So we're always moving. So straight to the door. I'm pre-potted, so that'll last me. Go in, drop two, grab my stuff. I'm going to put on Rigor here because that will one-shot the Shaman with Rigor on. So see the XP drop, I can swap and kill these guys. I know Rangers are coming, so I pray range and put on Piety. If Piety is on, you one-shot the Rangers. So just switching as I know. I just keep Rigor on. You don't need it on for the mages and the acid guys, but I just throw it on so I don't have to worry about it, I guess. So I switched back to Piety to one-shot these guys. And then I use the bomb guy. Always use those to kill monkeys where you can. So he just killed one. But I have Rigor on so I can one-shot this guy. Dodging the acid here. Making my way. And now I'm killing everything else. I think at this point we're going to pray melee. So I like to always have Rigor on so whenever a Shaman pops up I can just one-shot him. I don't got to think about it. So I don't even kill these melee guys at all. I just let them stack up. I kill everything else. Piety to hit this guy, and then I switch back to Rigor. Don't even worry about the melee guys at all. I'm praying against them. They're not hurting me. I'm going to let the bomb guys kill those. So it'd just be a waste of hits, a waste of time. So, like, see, I let him gather up. Boom, he just took out a bunch of them. And there's another bomb guy here. He can take out the other one. So I didn't even have to worry about the melee guys at all. It's just a waste of ticks, waste of hits. I ran out of prayer there, but no big deal. Just, you want to, put on your gear, do your switches, everything as you're running. You don't just want to stand around. Like here, I kind of stand for a second, but that's fine. You don't really just want to stand around, switch, and then run. You want to, like, pot up and get everything ready, do your switches while you're running, because we got the timer. So no need to stand around and waste time. So we got a BGS hit in there, so that's good. I like to drag him down, so when he does his boulders, I'm not flying across the map for a while, because, that time matters. I got Boulder Dash on, so all that extra time helps. If I start at the bottom, then I can just kind of start running up forward towards the boulders right away. I don't have to wait for that animation of flying through the air. And I think I did enough damage here to where I don't take another rock, I believe. So I'm just kind of, so I get all the way down to the bottom. Just turn off Piety to say prayer. I try to get to that top row that I have marked there. And then I do one step, and then I run through. So as soon as I see the XP drop on the right, I know the hit, like, registered. Once I see that XP drop, I run forward one tile, and then I run through. That just kind of helps. It kind of guarantees that you'll make it through. If I just saw the XP drop and ran straight through, sometimes you run into the boulder, even though, like, you hit it already, and it'll mess you up. So I'm doing pretty good damage here, especially with that 65 with the Void Waker. So I know I'm not going to have to worry about another rock. If I need to, I can run to the sarcophagus, but you can see, like, I made it through. So that's why I just stood at the bottom there. Run up. I try to make it to that top row. See the XP, one tile, run through. And I go back to hit him. My prayer's coming down a little bit. You know, you can turn off piety if you want to preserve your prayer a little more. But I know he's gonna die pretty soon. My combat pots just went away, but I'm like, you know, he's almost dead. I'm not gonna repot just for a couple hits. It's kind of a waste. So I get some big hits in. It's going pretty good. I see I only got 10 prayer points. I could turn off piety here, but I know I'm gonna kill him pretty soon. I think I'm gonna make it. So I'm cutting it pretty close. I was down to like 2 prayer points, 1. So I could have drank another dose, but I figured, you know, I'd kill him before that, so I wasn't really worried. But just be ready just in case. You know, if I would have hit a 0, I would have hit another prayer pot dose. But luckily, I didn't have to. So 1 prayer pot, 1 full prayer pot is all I used for that entire room. And now we're running. We're not wasting any ticks. I'm on the markers here. So 1's coming in my line, so I just go over while I'm running. So I click the 1 kind of ahead of me, so it'll move over while I'm running. I don't just want to stop because I'll get hit. And this one's good, so I can just run right through. So I'm going to pot here. Always pre-pot, get my prayers ready before I'm even in the room, so I don't got to worry about it. Just doing all this while I'm moving. Always moving. I don't really just want to stand around. Got a good hit, so I'm going to Void Waker next. Another good hit. So here, you should use 0 supplies. Not even a single dose of prayer pot. So you can pray flick protection. I also like to pray flick, like right there you saw, I pray flick rigor. That can get a little tricky sometimes. You kind of got to just learn the timing. It's a 4-tick timing. But I'm kind of just used to it. So I know when my hit's going to register. So I try to flick that, and in between I try to flick protection. I see that flying through the air, so I run right over here so I'm not getting hit by acid. Make sure I'm protected. Get this going. I'm not really worried about doing damage right now. I'm just worried about staying safe as my first priority. So I just flick rigor when I can. I don't really make it 100% priority. Like here, you know, I can miss it and it's fine. You could really not do rigor at all and you're still gonna have plenty of time. I just do it because I can. Why not? You know, it just makes it a little faster, gives you a little extra damage. So don't really have a lot of room, so I hit one of these jugs to make some room. Play with the movement a little bit, try and get into the right spot without taking any acid damage. I have the acid invocation on. This is a 365, so you could take that off and still be at a 350 if that's, you know, giving you trouble. But I've kind of learned to just deal with it. Once you know how the solves work and everything. So these guys are coming, so I'm going to run down here and use this one. It kind of has a delay when you click attack, so just be aware of that. So I moved it and spam clicked it at the same time. And here I'm flicking rigor because I got nothing else to really worry about right now. So flicking that as I can. Here I'm kind of doing both, just turning it on and off as I can. Sometimes I just, you know, like here I'm going to worry more about being safe than I am about doing damage, so I'm not worried about rigor or anything. I'm just going to do what I need to do. Sometimes you can leave it on. You know, you're going to have plenty of prayer. Especially if you're flicking like a good amount of time, you're going to have plenty of prayer left over. If you really need to, you know, sip a dose of prayer, you know. If things are really going wrong and like you're healing and like whatever else, maybe you use 2 doses of prayer pot here. So here at Enrage, I kind of just leave the protection on. You know, I switch. If he switches attack, I'll switch it. But now I just, you know, can kind of focus more on flicking Rigor. There was a dead click there. You'll notice that in this raid, there's kind of a lot of lag going on. So, and look at that. All that. I had Piety, or I had Rigor on. I was Protection, and I ended up with like 20 prayer points left over. So, plenty. I'm always going to grab Power here. I never use it for these rooms. So still, I'm 2 rooms down, and I've used 1 full prayer pot. That's it. The supplies from the raid itself are basically reserved. Same with the brews. They're basically all reserved for the final. So I try not to touch brews at all. Same with the restore. Like, that's only there because I have brews. If something really goes wrong and I gotta like spam brews, well, now I gotta restore also. But ideally, you should never really touch that until the final phase, and you'll be salted by then, so you really don't even need the restore. But so I do 4 here, and then I do 4 on the next one. Got a little lucky solve there. And then I see boot is not recovered on the other side, so that's the empty one. Same with knives. And I never stop moving. I got my spec ready. I'm going to pot. I'm gonna put on my prayer. Everything before I make it in there is ready to go. So I can just spam click, not miss any ticks, and just go for it. No standing around. 2 hits, move. You can kind of click before the shadows show up. Kind of just got to learn the timing. I like to stand here and get an extra hit in. And once I see the XP, you can move over in time. Sometimes that gets you in trouble and messes up the line. So here you can see was a dead click. I definitely clicked. And my guy just stood there and took 55 damage for no reason. So isn't that wonderful? So I'm still not panicking. I know I can heal on these guys. So now that I'm low health, I'm just kind of prioritizing. Usually I would ignore these, but I'm just prioritizing healing. And boom, I also took another 20 right there. So now this guy is making his way. I got to kill this guy in time before he makes it. Especially with low health like this, it's kind of like even more important now. Luckily, I hit good enough to where I can get that melee prey in before he makes it to me. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Maybe you take a hit. I'm just kind of focusing on healing because my health is really low. So I'm like, you know what? I'm prayed against this guy. I'm fine. Let me just get some health. So I get a little health there, and then I finish this guy off. Sometimes you might take a hit if he makes it over there before you kill the ranger. But it's really fine. You're most likely you're not going to die or anything. If worse comes to worse, you got bruise. But I make it all the way over, and I get over there. Ideally, you'd be over there and ready a lot faster, but I was kind of doing a little something to get some health and just get back on track there. So now we're just back to fighting. Notice even after all that, I took, 80 damage almost, and I still didn't touch a brew. Like this, you should still never touch a brew. You have the Karis. Use that. You can get 3 heals right here. I'm back up above half health, so I'm doing pretty good now. And this is a room where you just use, keep your prayer high. I kind of messed up here as well. I was pretty far away for this dung, so just make sure I don't get trapped. But it kind of was not an ideal dung placement, but it is what it is. It's still fine. I can still reach the major from here. So it's really not the end of the world. Doing some pretty good damage. I think one more hit here and I'll have him. Yep. So it's 3 hits. There's 1, 2. I usually got to dodge a guy in between. There's 3. So now he's going to move. So 1 and then 2. He moves after 2, but that's because I hit over 40. So if you hit over 40, he's going to move. And he dies right there. So, like if I were to hit a 40 on the first hit, he's going to move right away. So just be ready for that. Just kind of know when he's going to move so you can run over there. You don't want to let him charge up and get an attack off, because then, you know, especially with this low of health, I would definitely die. So now I'm going to take a break to get more healing because I'm still pretty low. I think I do 3 here. Yep. And we just go back at it. Keep my prayer points high. Just use as much as I need. This and Akka are the rooms where you're really going to use supplies. The first 2, as you can see, we used 1. And we got 7 left over, so not a big deal. Okay, he's dead. Let's go back to the boss. So this was kind of not an ideal Kefri. You know, took a lot of damage. Kind of got a little distracted. I try to go for this other one as well. I always try to get the darker ones, because those are what spawn the little guys. So the more of those you kill, you know, the less little guys are attacking you. But I got 60 health now. That's, you know, I think that's plenty to carry me through the rest of the raid. This is already at half health here. So it's just this second half, and then his final phase goes pretty quick. So get a couple good specs in. And I'm just going to ignore these guys. I only got 40 health, but as long as I don't mess up, I'm going to be fine. I just got to make it through the final. So he barely hits, and he goes down pretty quick here at the end. So 40 health, that's plenty. I'm not really worried about trying to do anything. I did redose. I think I missed that at one point, but I redosed my combat pot. Usually you don't have to. Sometimes you might run out by the final phase here, but you know, you still hit pretty high on this final phase. So I usually just don't repot, but I did because I think he was like halfway or over halfway still on the previous phase. So I repotted, but you don't necessarily have to. So that's 3 down. I used 2 prayer pots that time, and that was with a lot of mistakes. So I think I ran out of prayer at one point there too. So kind of a lot going on, but still only, you know, 3 prayer pots down. And then we're just going to solve this quickly. Notice how I'm not standing around. I just go straight for these. I didn't even grab my pickaxe yet. So I know I'm going to be down here near this pickaxe. So I'm like, okay, well, I might as well just grab it now while I'm next to it. Then I grab this. Try not to waste time. Let him do one more attack. And there we go. So we're 18 minutes in, and we're 3 rooms down. So I see the XP drop, and I run. Get everything ready. I'm already wearing my gear. Already praying. No wasted time. Just jump right in. And here, I'm doing pretty good on this boss. So I'm getting some nice hits. You know, a couple 40s in there. So I'm doing some decent damage. Another 38. And at 80%, he's going to spawn his shadows. So I see I'm getting pretty close. One more hit. There you go. I missed a hit there. I hit the boss instead of the shadow there. Sometimes you can catch it. If you know like the next hit's going to bring him to 80, just be ready to spam. Click that shadow as soon as it shows up, and you'll get an extra hit without hitting the boss first while he's immune. But no big deal. We're doing some crazy damage, so No big deal. I know he's gonna switch soon, so I don't even move out of my range gear. Just turn that off to say prayer. You'll notice how I like spam clicked him before he disappeared, and I got one extra little hit off. So just keep my thrall up. Thralls are really good here. Every little bit of damage helps. 60% will be his next shadow spawn, so we're getting kind of close to that. And you'll see, switch your prayer. So I see, all right, 60 is pretty close, so I just get ready. I knew that next hit was going to spawn him, so I was able to just hover over him and be ready to click. So that way my first attack was as soon as he popped up, instead of wasting that first attack on the boss. Not really that big a deal, but you know, every little bit of damage helps. Those guys are on a timer, so you want to make sure they go down. I switched my gear while that was happening, so now I'm just ready to run straight in. I do one spec here, because my health is like, 60 health. Probably could have did both, but I want to have 80 spec so that I can heal with the Kaeris. Before, I don't want my health to get down too much. So I just did one spec there so I didn't waste too much of it. I'll definitely have 80 spec back before I really need to heal, so that's what I'm concerned about. Getting close to 40, and there it is. I just caught that guy. I'm going to drag him down here. So doing this memory attack while the shadows are out are good because it pauses their timer. So it's nice to get a couple, I get a couple hits in the beginning, and when I get that last tile, I also click him to get another little hit. It just gives you a couple extra hits to make sure he gets down before that timer's up. Okay, switched. We're almost at 20%. So I'm just going to be ready. You always want a thrall to help you out with the shadows just because they're on the timer. You want to make sure you kill them. So I know he's going to switch soon, so I'm getting my bow ready. And there you go. He switched. Put on Piety. Get a couple extra hits here. Get into place. Get a thrall going. See, I'm on that last tile. I always get a hit before I move. Just gives you a little extra damage so you can really make sure you make it. Because if you hit a couple zeros, you could be in trouble. So now my health is still fine. Usually I would have Kaeris by now, but I'm going to combat pot here just because I know he's about to be dead. So I would like to combat pot before I Kaeris just because it hurts me for 10 health. So might as well just get that back. No reason to do it after I Kaeris. So and it's going to last, well beyond the room. So before I'm going to Kaeris, I always do that combat pot. And then I Kaeris up, and now I can take 4 whole orbs. Usually I take 0, but sometimes, I'm lagging a little bit, and boom, there's 1 already. It's 3 hits before he moves. So priority number 1 is dodging. Priority number 2 is hitting. Because, I took another one. So I'm not doing the greatest. There's kind of a lot going on nearby. Sometimes you get lucky and there's nothing near you. But I already took 3. So I could take 1 more. But he's pretty low. And I'm like, oh, 1 more. Let me just run up and hit him 1 more time and be done. But he's 3 health. So I thought he was dead there. So I wasn't really paying attention. I took 1 more, but luckily I was okay. You never really want to let your health just be below 25. Because then if you take 1 on accident, you're just dead. So I got all my brews, haven't touched them. I got 3 prayer pots. I usually like to have at least 3 prayer pots left. And I got my restore, but that's kind of irrelevant. So I make a little room. I just readjust things how I like them. And this is after mistakes and stuff, and I still got all these supplies. So get everything ready, salt, spec, put on my prayer. Thrall. Hit it and run straight. I hit a 30, which I probably could have Void Wakered the next one. I couldn't remember if it was a 30 or 40 for the cap. And then I run over to the side here. This is a safe spot. So now I'm just chilling. Put on my range gear and I just sit here. This is like, I can relax a little bit. Now you can watch your salt timer and it'll, you know, like right there, I could have brewed up every like 15 seconds. So 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 0 seconds. Your stats are going to restore. So I think on the next one, I drink a brew dose right before 15 seconds. Yep, right there. My stats went right back up. So I took the bombs. I'm just going to keep my prayer up. I'm going to wait for the timer. It's getting close to another 15 seconds. So right before, boom, my brew dose. Stats are right back. You can run up forward so your hits kind of register a little faster. I wasn't 100% sure if I would make it, so I just ran back to be safe, but I probably could have been fine. I do it again right before 45, so my stats are back up. It's over, so I just spam the brews. I heal all the way up as much as I can, and we get ready for the boss. So, keep my prayer up. You can do the same, like if you were to take a bunch of hits or something, you could heal, like you could watch your salt timer and, you know, you could take a brew dose right before 6 or whatever, you know, but I don't really need to. My health is high enough at this point, but you could do that so that you're not really losing, stats. So I see he's getting close. I'm going to drink my liquid adrenaline, and I'm going to switch my prayer already before he even changed, just so that all I have to do now is switch. Because there's kind of a lot of clicks you got to do in this short amount of time. So there's 5 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As soon as I see, I do BGS spec. As soon as I see that XP drop is when I switch. But when I get ready for this, I kind of fuck up here and I miss that prayer just barely. So I took a bunch of damage. I think I just kind of spam brews. But I'm also trying to like dodge things and pray correctly, and my health is low, so there's kind of a lot going on. And usually you get lucky with these, they're not nearby, but a lot of these are like all right next to me, so I'm trying to run all over the place and heal up and switch my prayers. So I think I end up actually running out of prayer because there was just kind of a lot going on right there. Luckily, I think it's after he procs, which is good. I'm still fully healed though, so even if I did take a hit, I'd be okay. But since I ran out of prayer, I kind of lost some damage there and messed up a little bit. But it's going to be a 3 down anyways. I'm going to have plenty of time, so not a big deal. His health is pretty low. I know that 3rd down is going to be no problem. So I just try to get back on track. Keep my prayer high. Try not to take any more damage. So even with all that, you know, usually you wouldn't take as much damage as I took this raid. Kefri was horrible. This kind of went horribly. But I still have a full brew that I never touched. And I still have a full restore I'll never touch. I still got tons of prayer. So I still got plenty of supplies. Still got a full ambrosia. And here I just finish him off. I wasn't sure if I had enough damage, so I do an extra spec here, but I could have got away with not doing that. But it's fine. Kind of adjust my inventory how I like it while I'm waiting, while I got time, so I don't have to be playing around with it. And I like to pray rigor here. Just before I get a chance to BGS, I just pray rigor so it kind of helps me do some damage before I'm able to reduce his defense. So look at all my supplies. I got tons of prayer. I got 3 full prayer pots basically. I still got a dose of the scarab, which is a bunch of prayer. I still have a full restore, which is a bunch of prayer. And I still have a brew that I can. Okay, so my audio cut out. But let's just add on here. So I think what I was saying was I like to pray rigor for this before I BGS, just to help me get a little extra damage. I mean, we're only at 30 minutes and we're already on the boss. We got 10 whole minutes, so like you really don't need to do this. I just kind of do it because I got so much prayer. Might as well, you know? So just doing some damage at 80% is when his skulls are gonna pop up. So I get a little extra hit there, and I just use my Karis to heal up. You can let your health get down on the end of Wardens there, the last phase, because you're just gonna get that health right back on these skulls. So I skull skipped, so I just did the 3, went over, and then skull skipped. Just keep a thrall out, keep praying, and yeah. So 80% was the first one. We're going to just do some damage here. Doing some pretty good hits. This is before I even spec'd. So I'm going to spec here. And I hit a 1, which is not good. And then I hit again. I hit a 12. So not ideal. I think his defense reduction is capped at like 30 or 40, I want to say. So definitely some more room in there. We're getting close to 60%. So the skulls are going to be popping up here. So I'm just getting ready for that. Kind of just be aware of around the time they're going to show up so you can be ready for them. So I was ready. I just threw that on. Don't need to heal too much. I'm just going to hit 3 of these just to make sure I'm overhealed. Pray, and then just do my skull skip. And then just back to attacking. So I want to make sure my spec is full, like 100% for the enrage phase. So since I'm skull skipping and it's going to take me a while to get there, I know I do those first 2 specs, and I know I can do 1 more before, you know, and I'll still make it to the final with 100%. So I think I'm going to give it 1 more BGS smack just to try to get a little more reduction in defense. Not that I'm doing bad. I'm actually doing pretty good on hits, but I like to just reduce his defense now, so when he's enraged, I don't really have to worry about pulling out the BGS, and then what if I miss and hit a 0, and now I got to pull out a Void Waker. It kind of gets too much. There's kind of a lot going on. So I'm already overhealed, so I'm good. I'm just going to dodge 1 boulder there, and then I can spam click. The other one's going to come down, but it won't hit you. Just got to dodge the first one. So I think, yeah, right here I'm going to give him another BGS smack just to try to fully reduce. And I hit it too. So his full reduction is like 15, which is really not what I want. But I'm hitting pretty good though. So ideally it would be, you know, better than that. But it is what it is. So we're just continuing. Getting some crazy hits during this raid. And we're getting down to 20% is when he's going to do his next skulls, so it's getting a little close. Just kind of being prepared for that. I'm not going to need to hit any of them. I got plenty of health. So there we go. I'm just going to make my way over. You're going to dodge 2. So there's 1. And there's going to be 1 more coming down, and then get into place and spam. So we dodge 2, make sure everything's good. And now I think his enrage phase is at like 5%. So I just kind of want to get ready before that, you know, keep my prayer high. I see he's, you know, he's getting closer and closer to that 5%. So I'm going to summon a Thrall here pretty soon, I think, just to keep it fresh and let it kind of work its way into that final phase as well, so we get some damage out that way. We're down to like 10%. I'm going to top up on my prayer. We're getting close. A couple more hits. So my prayer is full, but I'm also going to sip that Scarab. I save a Scarab dose just so it's going to passively give me prayer. So now I don't really have to look at prayer in the final anymore. So I know I'm basically there. So I'm going to hit my Adrenaline, and it just so happened to proc at the same time. So I just like to Void Waker. Just watch your prayers, move around if you need to. I kind of got messed up here a little bit because like every other hit they were changing prayers, and every single tile next to me was lightning, so there was kind of a lot going on. But you know, just move around if you need to. Get your 4 specs off, and then start ranging. There you go. I think I take a boulder here for no reason, just because, you know. But hey, look, I got an Ambrosia dose, so why not? So I'm not worried about prayer. That Scarab, plus if you ever sip an Ambrosia, that's going to give you a bunch of prayer too. So I don't really worry about prayer. All I worry about is moving, praying, click the boss in between. And I think he's getting some pretty decent hits, even though I didn't BGS him all the way. And I still have 3 rows left. So you could do a BGS smack at the end there and reduce his defense a little more. Maybe you get some better hits, but you know, I just like to Void Waker. And look at that. There's a purple guaranteed every time. You always get a purple at TOA, right? You never just waste hours and hours and make like 200k. So I just like to Void Waker instead of BGS, because, you know, if the BGS hits 0, that's just a wasted spec. So Void Waker's guaranteed damage. I just like to throw 4 of those, and then there you go. Now he's that much less health. So you don't got to worry about doing more damage with reduced defense if you just do a bunch of damage, and then you got to just do less damage overall. So it is what it is. Got a back-to-back. Had to let the clan know. There it is. Easy as that. I think I look at the scoreboard here. And that was 35 minutes. I had a whole, like, you know, took 860 damage, which is kind of crazy. I usually only take maybe like 500 or 600. But so that was like a ton of mess ups. I still got a full brew, a full restore, a full prayer pot. And that's after tons of mess ups. And it took me 36 minutes out of 40. So you're golden. It's easy. That's all there is to it. Just got to get the purple, you know? Just that simple.